How would you describe your experience acting in an Anurag Kashyap film? It must have been a dream.
It wasn't on the list. It was, I didn't think it was realistic enough to be. He's quite against actors coming prepared. And I think about 3 days into shoot, he came and told me, "Bus, you can stop reading your script now, put it away, just turn up at shoot like you would go anywhere else, put on your costume and come, we'll find out what happens." Scene where the boy is sleeping was actually the first scene that we rehearsed. And AK was very clear. He said, "I'm rehearsing this for you, to Sayami and me. I don't want to do any rehearsals." And the scene was done and we were still going on arguing. AK didn't call cut, and after a while we literally ran out of things to say to each other, and that's when we find out that he's cut the shot and he's actually sitting there and watching the playback, and he was very happy with it also.
In this film, the idea was that both Sushant and Sarita, they're migrants to Bombay. The whole casting and everything was done on the basis of that. In this film, I have used a lot of restraint because it was very hard to not have the characters sound like me. So there was a lot of temptation to have Sarita start saying things that I feel. Them fighting over the child, all that scene, the big fight, all that comes from your own experiences sometimes.
Behind Words, Maat Yosi with Agni. In this episode, we have director Anurag Kashyap and actor Roshan Matthews, who are ready with their latest film, Choked, which is on Netflix. Hi,
Hi.
This is Agni from Behind Words. Nice to see you here.
Hi, Agni, how are you?
I totally love the film. I'm good. How are you, sir?
I'm good. Thank you so much.
Yeah. And Roshan, Anurag sir wouldn't normally prefer actors to come prepared on set. So, did you find the process exciting as an actor?
Yeah, that's very true. He's quite against actors coming prepared, and I have a habit of doing a lot of preparation by myself and doing what I think is homework that will help me make the best of the scene that we are going to shoot. So it took about 1, 2, maximum 3 days, I guess, for him to maybe understand that I was comfortable enough with the language to not spend a lot of time with the script anymore. And I think about 3 days into shoot, he came and told me, "Bus, you can stop reading your script now, put it away, just turn up at shoot like you would go anywhere else, put on your costume and come, we'll find out what happens." And for me, it was a very liberating experience. It was a lot of freedom, more than I've ever felt at a film shoot. It felt a lot more like the plays that I used to do, or like it felt a lot more like theater, where anything that I wanted to do was accessible. And I really enjoyed it. And it only happened because I was working with Anurag sir and it was easy to trust him. It was, when it's someone whose work that you've seen and you respect the work, then it's okay to sort of let go of what you usually use as a process and just give in to their process.
How would you describe your experience acting in an Anurag Kashyap film? It must have been a dream.
Yeah. It was actually, it was too big to be a dream. Have always watched his films and absolutely loved them, and I'd go crazy if I got an opportunity to work with him. It wasn't on the list. It was, I didn't think it was realistic enough to be a dream. But yeah, I was very, very excited when he called. I was really thankful for a lot of things that had happened, especially Muton, because that's where he saw me. And the experience was great. Working on Choked with Anurag sir felt a lot more like theater than any other film that I had done. The kind of freedom there was to improvise, and the excitement that he gets out of something new that happens when you improvise and a scene changes even a little bit. For instance, there was this one sidetrack in the movie where my friend Dinesh owes me some money and I constantly go knocking at his door and he never opens his door to let me in. So it was when we were shooting in the first few days itself, when we were shooting all of those sequences together. So I literally had to knock on his door, wait, go change costume, come knock on the door again, go change costume, come knock on the door again. These would be used through the film. So second or third time that I did it, I thought of doing something slightly different, and I did it. Along with the knocking, I sort of took out my phone and I gave him a call and I pushed my ear to the door to see if his phone was ringing inside. AK got very excited. He was like, acha, acha, acha. And then I changed costume and came, and the whole knocking itself had changed. He's like, last time you tried calling him, this time you break the window. and peep inside. So he loves it when things change, and then he really goes out of his way to accommodate all of that into the movie, which is a very, very exciting process, and it's been great.
And I totally loved your performance in the film, especially the argument scene, the scene where you argue with Sarita when the son is sleeping. That was one crazy scene, but at the same time very real. So can you tell us about the making of that particular scene?
That scene where the boy is sleeping was actually the first scene that we rehearsed, and we only rehearsed 2 scenes before the shoot began, and we rehearsed it, and AK was very clear. He said, I'm rehearsing this for you, to Sayami and me. I don't want to do any rehearsals. In fact, I hate doing rehearsals, but because both of you seem so scared and nervous at shoot is beginning, let's rehearse. So we started with this scene. We had AK's assistant, Shivang, sleeping in between us as the kid, and he wanted us to just sort of like roughly read the script a couple of times and improvise. And it was the first time that I got a taste of the character and what Sushant's equation with Sarita is, what the overall mood in their house must be every night and all of that. So it was in many ways my entry into Chok, that scene. So later when we were, and Shivang, who played the son, was also great fun to have in that improv that we did. So later when we moved into the set and it was time to shoot this scene again, there was a good memory of all of that running, but we also wanted to recreate. We wanted to do something new. You can never try to repeat an improv, so you have to do something new. And this was one of the scenes where we continued well past the script, and the scene was done, and we were still going on arguing. AK didn't call cut, and after a while we literally ran out of things to say to each other, and that's when we find out that he's cut the shot and he's actually sitting there and watching the playback, and he was very happy with it also. He just lets us go. I think it was good fun shooting that.
Can you tell us about one moment where you got choked in life, just like Sarita in the film?
There's this, I've said this story before actually, but it is the first thing that comes to mind when you say it. So I was in Madras Christian College, and we were in our 3rd year, and we were putting up a play in Anderson Hall, and the theatre group in college had been quite dead for the past 2 years. So we were very excited. We had finally gotten funds from our college union society, and everything was, rehearsals were done, and it's finally show day. And the play is a stage adaptation of Alfred Hitchcock's Rope, which was also originally a play. And in Rope, the opening scene is 2 men strangling another man with a rope and killing him. So I was the guy holding this man. My friend was the one who had the rope around this guy's neck, and this guy who was dying was a first-year kid. And he was very nervous. And that's all he had to do in the play. He had to appear in the first scene and die before the lights even come on properly. But he was very nervous. He went and he told Kiran, my friend, that, listen, I don't think I can act convincingly enough, so when you put the rope around my neck, just tighten it a little bit. With that, I'll react, and the scene will go on well. So we started doing it. The curtains have just about come up, and the lights are really dim, and he starts strangling this kid, and he passes out, and I'm holding him, and I can tell that he's passed out because suddenly he's dead weight, and it's taking a lot of strength to really hold him up. And for the rest of the play, for the first 20 minutes of the play, we put his body inside a plywood box, and the play continues without a break. So the moment he passed out, I realized, Kiran realized, but we didn't stop the show. I guess for us, it was the option was either continuing with the show or stopping it there, calling an ambulance and saying, listen, we think we killed our co-actor. But we didn't want to do that. We really wanted to do the play. So we lifted him, we put him in the box, and we continued with the play as though nothing had happened. And 20 minutes later, when the first blackout came, I remember standing in the wings and looking expectantly to see if this boy is coming out or not, because then if he doesn't come out, I know for sure that we're in trouble. But he did come out, and I didn't. I had a life after it.
Interesting. Great work, Roshan. We really love the film. Thank you so much, and all the best.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Let's start with your South reference in your films. You have designed Sushant as a Tamil character in Choked. You also have a Tamil Kuttu song in the film. There has been such references of South in your films. In Ugly, there was a Tamil character. In Raman Raghu, Shobita speaks Telugu. Is this your way of attempting to break the prejudices on North and South?
No, but I just go by a kind of a very simple rationale with every character in the sense. See, Bombay is a metropolis, and in a metropolis like Bombay, people come from all across the country. If I had a film based in North India, it probably might not have a character from South India until it was as absolutely a fact that was I was basing the film on. In this film, the idea was that both Sushant and Sarita, they are migrants to Bombay, and generally people in the entertainment business do not come from Chennai to Mumbai because Chennai has a very healthy film industry in itself. Often people come from Bangalore. And then when I was doing research, so she's a Konkan girl who went seeking music to the nearest city of Bangalore. Is a Tamil origin boy who was probably learning music in Bangalore. And from there, that's where they would have met. And then they probably moved to Bombay, looking for their dreams. So the whole casting and everything was done on the basis of that. Which is why also there's a song that comes in from his perspective, which is in Tamil. So
yes, that's a Tamil Kuthu song. Yeah.
Yeah. So all those things were kind of thought through for various reasons, but not to break any kind of a prejudice, but just to stick to the fact that since the story is set in Mumbai and there are migrants to Mumbai, which are much more than migrants to any other city. So to be more inclusive.
And we have a quick round called the Behind Us 2020. So
Okay.
Since the name Rapid Fire has been overused, we have changed it into 2020.
Okay.
Recent Tamil film that you loved.
The last Tamil film I saw was Asuran, which I loved so much.
Which actors from the Tamil film industry will suit your following projects? Dev D, Gangs of Wasseypur, Raman Raghav, Sacred Games.
Dev D, I would pick up somebody like Siddharth. And Gangs of Wasseypur is very like Dhanush and Vijay Sethupathi. I would pick for Gangs of Wasseypur. Raman Raghav, my first choice was Dhanush. I actually had gone to narrate the script.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And for the cop, I would have picked up a Madhavan. Sacred Games, I don't know. Sacred Games, definitely, I would pick Vijay Sethupathi and Ajit.
Wow. Sacred Games, that would be killer. Do you have any scripts in which you are considered to rope in a Tamil actor?
Yeah, lots of time. We had reached out to Vijay Sethupathi and the film couldn't happen at that time. It happened a year late, so we actually wasted his dates. It was then Gulshan came into the film later on. And Dhanush had reached out to once. And I have a Vikram, I know from the time, because when we were releasing Satya in South, and Vikram was helping us with the dubbing of the characters in Satya, after which he did Setu. And at that time, I had gone and met him, and we were thinking of doing something with him at that time. So those are the times that I've done.
And one of your favorite statements is that you thrive in chaos. That's your process of working, and not to forget what you did with the junior artists in Bombay Velvet when things were so organized. But this time with Choked, I feel the audience are going to feel the chaos. I can't reveal much, but do you believe your audience should also thrive?
Yeah. But the idea was to kind of find the chaos that happened on the... Well, in the sense, in one song, we tried to create that chaos and the whole chaos that happens post demonetization in every household and everything. So that's something that we wanted to create. I think somewhere we managed to do that, just by telling the story of these four houses on top of each other. We did not want to expand beyond that because there's so many stories around demonetization. If one decided to include everything, it would have just gone on and it would have been another film. So we wanted to just focus on Sarita and her immediate surrounding.
And sir, you put everything that bothers you into your films. So what such things have you put into Choked?
Actually, I didn't. In this film, I have used a lot of restraint because it was very hard to not have the characters sound like me because they're very low middle class. They have their own struggle. Their politics has to be based on their own experiences. So there was a lot of temptation to have Sarita start saying things that I feel. And at that time, Sayami would react or Roshan would react. He says, why is Sarita sounding like you are tweeting? So I would always cut it out. So I had a lot of those temptations that I stayed away from. But yeah, everything in the sense, it's also the interpretation of life that is based on always on your own experiences of how people sit and talk and the behavior patterns and the food they eat and how they are with the child, them fighting over the child, all that scene, the big fight, all that comes from your own experiences sometimes.
Thank you, sir.
मैंने आपको क्वेश्चन नहीं पूछा था.